Hi, welcome to today's coffee chat. I might be gripping my coffee mug for this whole chat today because it is actually chilly. It really does feel like fall now, and it's kind of the first week that it really has felt like it. So it's exciting to some. It's mixed feelings for others like myself that hate the cold. But yeah, okay, let me set up my page here so that I can see your comments. Drop me a comment. Let me know that you're tuning in. I'd love to see your name so I can feel like I'm actually talking to you guys instead of my own face on the screen. Okay, here we go. Cold. Okay, I should be able to see your comments as they come in. Okay, welcome. I'm going to sip on my coffee here while I have a little chat with you. This one's going to be a little bit more informal than they usually are. I'm trying to make these more bite-sized, shorter videos because I know you're busy and I want to give you the most content and the most useful information as in a concise way that you can kind of take it in and get on with your day, because I know we're all busy, we're all working on a lot of things, and usually if you're actually taking a coffee break from work, then it really is probably a short break. So I want to make these able for you to attend. So this coffee chat is about autumn vocabulary and culture in Italy. So I just want to kind of like talk about the season in Italy a little bit and give you kind of some insight into why it is probably my favorite time to travel in Italy and in Europe in general. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, and I'm happy to answer any questions about fall in Italy or anything else. But yeah, we'll get started. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. And so fall is one of my favorite times to travel in Italy because of the beautiful colors, first of all. Not only the leaves on the trees, which is the most obvious, but also the leaves on the grapevines. The grapevines will actually change colors, and based on the variety of grape, you'll get a different color. So sometimes they're like burgundy red, and sometimes they're bright yellow, and it's just gorgeous. So it makes a good season for getting unique photographs. You know, if you're into photography, and you know, we've seen so many pictures of Italy in the bright, super sunny, gorgeous golden hour kind of days. You could get something a little bit different if you're traveling in fall, because the color scheme is going to be totally different. But the wineries are beautiful to visit in the fall because of the color change in the vineyards. I also really like it because the temperature changes. You stop sweltering in that August, early September heat, and starts to be tolerable, especially if you're visiting a major city. Usually, you know, like Florence is super hot in the summer. So fall is a very welcome season, and the locals are really excited when it starts to cool off. But yeah, so the temperatures drop, it becomes more tolerable. It'll be crisp in the mornings, and then in the midday, it'll get a little bit warmer, so you can start peeling off layers. So that's nice. And another benefit of traveling in the fall is, of course, less crowds, fewer crowds. So you don't have to battle as many people if you're visiting a major city, or if you're going to smaller villages. It becomes even more charming because you feel like you just have it all to yourself and the locals that live there. So it's really beautiful. I also really love to travel in the fall because of the festivals. And this is a topic I talked about, I think 2 or 3 video chats ago. So you can go back to my live coffee chats and check that one out about the festivals in Italy. But especially in the fall, there are tons of harvest type festivals, and you can participate just by being there. Some of them you pay or buy a ticket to get in, and there's all kinds of performances and different events to go to and enjoy, everything from medieval festivals, but also to a lot of food related festivals. So you've got truffles. One of the festivals I had mentioned in that earlier coffee chat was the Truffle Festival in San Miniato in Tuscany. It's really, really fun. And that's just one example. There's a lot that are very similar in almost every little village in Italy has some type of harvest festival at some point. So that's a great way, especially if you're traveling on a budget, you can get in a lot of fun activities that way without spending a lot of money, because just being there, being immersed in that atmosphere, you're going to soak in a lot of local culture. And there's usually artisans that come, so you can watch them make their crafts and buy from them directly instead of through a shop where it might be more expensive. Food producers come, so you can meet farmers and learn about their farming methods and the history. You can ask them how they learned how to make the cheese that he's selling, and learn like how many generations back the tradition goes, and just walk around and talk to people that way. So it's just kind of a little more accessible way to immerse yourself in the Italian culture. So I also want to share today a little bit of fall vocabulary just for fun. I had a few of you telling me that your favorite coffee chats were the ones that involve the language, and I love speaking Italian, so I'm so happy to share some more of that with you. Okay, so to say fall, the season of fall is autunno, autunno, kind of like autumn, but it's A-U-T-U-N-N-O, autunno. Then another, these are all going to be fall themed vocabulary words, just kind of random, but zucca. Zucca is a fun word. I love that word. And it means pumpkin. So you could think of like tortelli di zucca. Tortelli di zucca is basically a type of filled pasta that's filled with pumpkin. So pumpkin, you could think pumpkin ravioli. Tartufo, tartufo. Tartufo means truffle. Not the chocolate truffles, but the mushroom flavorful truffle. So you'll see in Italy dishes where they shave truffle on top of it. Or if you go to Italy, you can actually book an experience with us where you get to go truffle hunting with the dogs and a local, and they'll teach you the history and how to hunt for truffles. And then you can go back and cook with truffles and have a bunch of different truffle themed dishes. I personally am not a truffle fan. I've tried over and over, but I've finally decided, you know what, it's not really my thing. Like, I can appreciate a touch of it, but it's so strong. But so many people love truffles, so definitely, you should definitely try it while you're there. See, we've got some comments come in, so let me see what you guys are saying. Robert says, hi Sierra, have you been to the Calabria region? I have, but I have not yet scouted there. I have passed through there while 2014. So it was before I was really working in the travel industry. So I'm due to go back, and actually several coffee chats ago, we interviewed Exao Olive Oil, Skylar from Exao Olive Oil, and they're based in Calabria. And soon we're going to start putting together some experiences with them where you can go and participate in the harvest and be part of their little village there. So definitely stay tuned for stuff from Calabria. And Ashton says, I love the Zoom background. She's not a truffle fan either, but she keeps trying. Yep, same here, Ashton. I keep trying because it's like always presented like it's gold, right? You feel like you should certainly love it, but it doesn't always turn out that way. But it's great that you try. That's important. Yeah, so the Zoom backgrounds, by the way, thanks for asking. These are, actually, I've made 10 Zoom backgrounds, and there is I believe I put a link in the description. There's a link to the blog post where you can actually download all 10 Zoom backgrounds. They're all these lesser known places in Italy that they're all my photographs, and I've turned them into Zoom backgrounds so that you guys can have some pretty imagery to daydream and tune out when you're in those long, boring meetings. So definitely take advantage of that. This is actually Cefalù in Sicily, and I picked this one today because I just needed some warm, sunny vibes. I'm just getting used to the cooler weather. So needed this one to warm me up. But yeah, it's super fun. Every time I have a meeting, I'm like choosing which Zoom background kind of fits my mood and what kind of vibes I want to bring in. So definitely go download those. Okay, so going back to my notes here. So the next vocabulary word is fungi, fungi. And you might guess it sounds kind of like fungi. So, or now I'm mixing up English and Italian. Is it fungi or fungi? I don't know, but fungi in Italian, and it means mushrooms. So you could think of risotto, risotto ai funghi, risotto ai funghi porcini. So that is a typical fall dish that's delicious if you like mushrooms. It's creamy risotto with porcino mushrooms on it. And by the way, the porcini mushrooms, they are abundant in the forests of Italy, and you can go scouting for mushrooms, and you should see them in the markets. If you visit Italy and you go to a market this time of year, you'll see these huge mushrooms. They'll still have like the dirt on the bottom of them where they were just picked like that morning or the night before. Really beautiful. So fungi. Another vocab word to do with fall is castagne. Castagne, they are chestnuts, castagne. So one thing you would see often in this season is people roasting chestnuts in the streets. So a popular thing to do is to go to a nearby city and get some roasted chestnuts from the street vendor and just walk around the center of the city munching on these warm roasted chestnuts. That's another thing, to be honest. That is another thing that I've tried a couple of times and I'm not quite getting it. But I think it's really a nostalgia thing. I think this is something they've done for generations, and if you're Italian, you grow up eating castagne, so it becomes a nostalgic food and a seasonal thing that you get excited about. I'm still gonna try. Maybe I just didn't have good ones, but I think it was a texture thing for me. But if you've had it before, drop me in notes and in the comments and let me know if you like them or not. Ashton says, "Oh, that's so cool. Porcini are delicious." Yes, they are. Okay, so uva is the next word. Uva. It means grapes. And of course, autumn is the season that you have the harvest of the grapes. So all the winemakers, all of the winery owners, the vineyard workers are going to be busy harvesting their grapes. The winemakers actually come later. They're separate, usually, unless it's kind of a small family farm. Usually there's a separate person that's a winemaker that comes and adjusts the levels and advises people on what they need to do to change the acidity level or whatever flavor they're trying to get. So if you traveled to Italy in the fall, especially, let's see, September is grapes and October are olives. So in September, you can help with the harvest, which is really fun. Some of our clients went last year to Abruzzo, the region of Abruzzo, and they got to help with the harvest and even got to stomp the grapes. And they had a big party on the farm where a bunch of locals came and enjoyed. And I do have to tell you that people don't usually actually stomp grapes anymore these days, but a few places do it just for fun and just more for the kids to enjoy. But I talked my friend in Italy into letting my adult clients get in on the action. So super fun. Ashton is asking another question. Maybe you already talked about this, but are pumpkin seeds and roasted fall squashes a thing? That is a really good question. I don't think I've seen anything about pumpkin seeds, but I wouldn't be surprised because generally Italians use every part of the vegetable as well as the animal. So I wouldn't think they would be wasting the seeds. I'll have to look into that. If you're one of my Italian friends watching me, leave me a comment, let me know if you guys are eating le semie delle zucche. And roasted fall squashes. I'm trying to think. They love to put it in pasta, like stuffed pastas. I've also seen like pumpkin gnocchi. Trying to think if I've seen a side. I'm positive that they do. I'm sure they do. It's probably more of a at-home dish that they would make on the side. But yeah. So pumpkins are definitely something that, you know, I think in the US we get excited about pumpkins, and they do there too. So the next, oh, actually, I wanted to say another thing about the grapes. So the time of harvest is called Tempo di Vendemmia. So you might hear someone say la vendemmia. It's the harvest, vendemmia. And you can also help harvest the grapes. And if you talk about harvesting the grapes, like actually the action of gathering the grapes, the way you say it in Italian is cogliere l'uva, cogliere l'uva. I just love Italian. It makes me so happy to speak Italian. The next word is vino novello, vino novello. And that means, you might guess it, new wine. Vino, everyone knows the word vino, and novello would be new. So new wine, because it's the season when they're starting to ferment the grapes for the next year's vintage. And then we also get to the olive oil. So olive oil would be, well, new oil, olio nuovo, olio nuovo. And while with the grapes, you have to wait a year or more, depending on how long they're aging this wine, but you won't be having the wine right away as it's made, right? It's gotta become wine. But with the olive oil, you can actually taste it, and it's wonderful. It's so fun and exciting because it's always different based on what the weather was and what the soil was like. Every farm is gonna have a press that tastes different. Even on the same farm, sometimes you can get different flavors happening. So that's really fun. And also the new olive oil, it's really bright green, so the color is gorgeous, and the taste is always a bit spicy, or really spicy sometimes. It's like this little zing on your palate, and it's just very different compared to the olive oil that you might be having at home in the United States that's been bottled who knows how long ago. So as the olive oil ages, it kind of mellows out in flavor, so the spiciness and that zing balances with the other flavors, and it's not as, it kind of calms down. So yeah, it's really cool. So you can definitely go to an olive oil farm, and sometimes you can partake in the pressing of the olives. You can help gather the olives. And in fact, on our Living Slow in Tuscany small group trip happening in October, not this year because of COVID, but next year, we're gonna help gather the olives and get to taste the new oil. So definitely check that out. You can go to our website, creativeedgetravel.com, and go to experiences at the top, click trips, and then you'll see Living Slow in Tuscany. You can read all about it there. Otherwise, you can also just send me a message with your email, and I will shoot you over all the details to make it easy. Okay, so one thing people always ask me is, do Italians celebrate Halloween? So yes and no. Traditionally, no. But in the recent years, people have started to celebrate Halloweens just for the really young kids. So you'll see little things popping up here and there. It's becoming part of the culture there. And especially the kids that are growing up now and they did it when they were young, I'm sure that they're going to grow up and want to share that with their kids. So I think in the next decade, you'll definitely see it picking up and becoming more and more part of their culture. One interesting thing that I looked up for this live, because I wanted to know, wait, do they say trick or treat? Like, how does that translate? So they do say trick or treat, but in Italian. So if you want to know how to say trick or treat in Italian, it is dolcetto o scherzetto. Dolcetto o scherzetto. You can imagine the little kids dressed in their costumes saying that. So cute. Now I want to go for Halloween and do trick or treating with the kids. But anyway, so dolcetto, it means, well, dolce is sweet. So un dolce would be a sweet, or to say a candy, they say caramello. So dolcetto, the part where you add the etto is like a diminutive, so it means that it's smaller. So dolcetto is like a little treat, and un scherzo is a joke. So sometimes in Italian, if someone says something like absurd and wild, you'll say, dai scherzi, stai scherzando. It's like, oh, come on, you're kidding me. And so here we say dolcetto o scherzetto. So little sweet or little treat. Sorry, a little treat or a little trick. So cute. Okay, so the next one is Castagnate. Castagnate. So this is another thing that you can take advantage of if you're traveling in Italy in the fall. Castagnate. It's basically Italy's version of a fall festival. So, you know, here in the US, we have a lot of fall festivals. Sometimes they're based around a specific local product. Like here, we have apples. So we have the Apple Festival in my hometown. But sometimes they're just in general fall festivals. So the Castagnate is like a fall festival, but focused on Castagne, which is chestnuts. So it's a big chestnut festival. And in the town of Maradi, you know what? I actually have never heard that town pronounced, so I'm not sure if it's Maradi or Maradi. No, it's not Maradi. I don't know if it's Maradi or Maradi. Okay, anyway, I'm confusing myself. But anyway, so this town in Tuscany, it's in an area called Mugello. It's the same area where our Living Slow in Tuscany trip takes place. And they have a really big chestnut festival. This is a really small town that's tucked away in the hills of northern Tuscany. Really beautiful area. It's really authentic and still very slow pace of life. It's just beautiful. And there they have the chestnut festival. So I'm laughing because I get your comments delayed from this live video. I see you actually reacting to my stuff. So I know from the little reactions coming through that you're laughing at my struggle with pronouncing the name of this village. But yeah, so this town has this festival for chestnuts, and it's actually part of our itinerary. So the Living Slow in Tuscany small group trips actually include a day that coincides with this festival. So we're actually going to stay in that village at this incredible palazzo with these two wonderful ladies that run it, a mom and daughter. This palazzo where we'll be staying has been in their family for over 500 years. It is incredible. Just the stories that they share, every detail has a story, and it's amazing. So I'm really excited for us to go there for 2 nights, and on one of the days you'll just have the whole day to enjoy the festival and roam around and taste all the chestnut products. There's one thing I really like are necci. So necci are basically chestnut flour pancakes, more or less, or crepes. And they have different fillings. So sometimes they have like ricotta and honey, or sometimes they're savory with prosciutto and local cheese, or ham and what else do they have in them? I've seen it with just honey or with Nutella. I'm trying to remember because I have a friend of mine, Giorgio. Giorgio is an entrepreneur in Florence, based in Florence, but from the mountains north of Lucca, so a little bit different area. So same general area of Tuscany, but a different part of it. And he started the street food business to revitalize the cultural traditions of this area. And he created this little bike that he bikes along and sets up as like a food truck selling these necci. So before he launched, he let me taste his different recipes and what kinds he wanted to offer. And that's another experience you can do with Creative Edge, is to go with Giorgio into those mountains. You go on a little hike, you gather the chestnuts in the forest, and you learn the history of the chestnuts in that area. And then you go to this abandoned stone mill in the woods where they used to grind the chestnuts into flour. And it's really interesting because this mill is just in the middle of nowhere. You have to hike to it. And there used to be this trail Sentiero dei Mulini, so Trail of the Mills, and the people would come and pick up the chestnut flower and bring it on this trail from the mill to the village. And yeah, it's just really interesting. So you go visit the old mill, and there in front of it, you cook over a campfire, and you cook these nechi and eat chestnut themed products by this little creek. So it's a really beautiful, immersive cultural experience. So definitely get in touch if that sounds like something you'd like to add to your upcoming Italy itinerary. Of course, none of us have any upcoming itineraries to Italy at the moment, but when you do get back there, keep that in mind. So yeah, I kind of got off track there, but I think I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah, so if you guys have any other questions, drop me a comment. This was really fun. It was really nice just to like sit down and literally have a chat with you and answer your questions and just talk about this beautiful season in Italy. I have such good memories of it. It just when I think of traveling in Europe in the fall, my heart is just like so warm. It sounds so cheesy, but just the walking around, you get to wear boots again and cute hats. And so you get to look super cute and walk around in these Italian villages. Everything's quieter. The markets are just have different products than you see in the summertime. I feel like the people are more available to you in some way because in August, all Italians pretty much go on vacation for almost, if not the whole month of August. So they're feeling pretty good about September, October. And yeah, you can visit these different farms where they're producing cheese and olive oil and harvesting the grapes. So it's a season when you can really pretty easily get under the surface of Italy and really experience the authentic culture. So I hope that this was interesting and helpful, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you have ideas for future coffee chats you'd like me to do, please leave me a comment. I really am looking for ideas, and I will see you next week. We do this every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, there's also a link in the description to register for our newsletter. So we're sending one about every couple weeks now. And you can find out about more of these unique traditions and little cultural things about Italy that you might not have heard about. So definitely sign up for that. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao.